Now let's take an example from the Portswigger community. We're going to build upon the understanding that we have of writing custom plugins, but this time we're going to take a look at the source code for the software vulnerability scanner. So you can get the source code from the following GitHub repo. Of course, when we actually go to run it, you could just install it directly from the BApp store, but I would like for you to at least download the source code just so that you can follow along with me during the answer key portion. So this particular extension is from the vulners.com website, which is a vulnerability scanner available to identify vulnerabilities and exploits that may be present in third-party applications and libraries. So your assignment is, I want you to download the plugin. This particular plugin does require Burp Pro because it's using Scanner. I would like for you to target a web application. When you view the answer key, you'll see that I used a website called hacked.me. Now, of course, you don't have to use this particular website. You're free to use any vulnerable web application that legally we're allowed to actually take a look at. I'd like for you to scan that web app and notice any findings that are identified by the software vulnerability scanner. And of course, we will review the source code that is available from GitHub. So for this assignment, what I would like for you to do is answer a series of questions. The first question is, what type of scan is used to trigger this extension? You will know that based upon looking at the code. The next question is, which file is used as the vulnerability database? And I'm putting that in quotes. That should clue you in that it's not actually a database. The next question is, the software issue class is an implementation of which Burp interface? So you need to find that and find out which interface it implements. And then the last question is, which class provides the extension's table of found vulnerabilities when executing against a target? As you can imagine, this particular sample code is very large, and so by answering these questions, you will have an opportunity to look more closely at all of the various pieces involved in building this extension. So for exercise 4, this is the answer key. We're going to install that extension from the BApp store. We will target a vulnerable web application. We're going to passively scan that target. We're going to note any vulnerabilities found by the plugin. We will review the Burp Extender code to examine how it actually works. This is the answer key for the 4th exercise that dealt with the software vulnerability scanner. Now, this particular code was actually from the Portswigger community and is an extension available via BApp Store. So you were required to answer some questions about the various classes and implementation of this extension. The first question was, which of the interface classes does the Burp Extender implement? It actually extends passive scan, and passive scan is something that was written by a third party. So if we look at the import statements, there's a package by the name of com-codemagi.burp. If you go into the project and go to the reference libraries, you'll see that the jar file contains that particular segment of code. So it's got that particular package and all of the compiled code inside of it. The passive scan class is going to provide the functionality for this extension by doing a passive scan against the target application. Now the next question asked you where the database for the vulnerabilities is located. That is actually located in a file called rules.json. Now rules.json is located under the source main resources folder. The third question asked you about the software issue class. Let's take a look at that class. What interface is implemented in the software issue class? And that would be the iScan issue. And then the last question asked, inside of the new tab that gets created for this extender, there's a table there that shows all of the vulnerabilities, how is that table actually created? What is the class that creates that? And that is the software table. Software table is available under this package name, Burp GUI Software. And you can see here that we've got the domain name, version, CVSS score, and the vulnerabilities. So let's go ahead and install this Burp extension and run it against a target application. So as I mentioned, this extension is available in the BApp Store, so let's go ahead and install it from there. The name of the extension is Software Vulnerability Scanner. Okay, I've got my extension installed, and I can verify that here. So in order to test out this extension, I'm going to use a container from HackMe. If you're not familiar with hack.me, you can create an account, and it has several different vulnerable web applications that you can quickly start a container on and start testing against. Now what you'll notice is immediately I see that the software vulnerability scanner has found something. As I take a look at the results, what I see is that this particular web application is running IIS 7.5. In that software, there are multiple CVEs that are found, and you can see how they're all described here. This particular extension is a fantastic tool to add to your pen test arsenal. If we go to the Software Vulnerability Scanner tab, we go to the Results tab, we can see that this is the vulnerable software that was identified. Taking the knowledge that you've built from all of these exercises, you could certainly add additional functionality if you needed to this vulnerability scanner. Perhaps you want to take all the vulnerabilities found and actually create a special report with them, or whatever your particular customization. You should feel like you should have a lot of the foundational skills required in order to add on to these extensions.